Today, I'm going to talk about stress. And my name is John Freeman. I'm the Stress Buster. And I'm on a mission to help 1,000 people get rid of their stress. Not cope with their stress, get rid of it, completely bin it. So, what makes me so qualified to talk about stress? Well, I've spent my whole life stressed. Well, the first 34 years of it. And the second half of my life was spent getting rid of it and helping other people get rid of it. My stress began when I was about 6 years old. My father died. My mum wasn't provided for, so she had to go out to work. I grew up with a terribly nasty temper because when I needed my mum the most, she wasn't there. So, big bad temper. I grew up feeling unwanted and unloved through nobody's fault. But then my temper ensured that I pushed everybody away, and I grew up not trusting anybody. And I started creating my own stress by my own behavior, my own thoughts. We talk a lot about mindset in this group. My mindset was very, very negative for many years. And I was very angry. So if anybody did try to help me, I was so busy just pushing everybody away. I built walls around me that thick. So all I did was my own behavior. There was a cycle, and I just kept creating more and more stress in my life. Finally, when I was 28 years old, I discovered there was a difference between a positive and a negative mental attitude. 28 years old. How anyone gets to last that long without discovering this wonderful fact, I don't know. So I set about saying to everybody, hey, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to be successful. And I started my own garden maintenance business, but with no support, no encouragement because of these walls I put around myself, no self-belief, no self-esteem. All I did was create even more stress. So I just got more and more stress. And the harder I tried to become successful, the more stressed I got. I was fighting those inner demons. You can't push against yourself in that way. So at its worst, in the late 90s, the second half of the 90s, I was probably working 14 hours a day. I was probably charging at least half as much as I was worth. So I wasn't earning enough money. I was charging around like a lunatic in my white van from job to job, desperately trying to keep on top of things. Obviously, I was really busy because I was really cheap and I used to work like a robot. At its worst, I was the original white van man, driving around, losing my temper, getting angry with everybody. I was super efficient. And if anything stopped me or slowed me down, I would lose my temper. And I was losing my temper 5 or 6 times a day at this point. Absolutely crazy. It didn't help that I was drinking about 10 cups of coffee a day either. So I was completely teetering on the edge of sanity all the time. And I would drive around. I would scratch my legs until they bled while I was driving around because I was just so tense and so uptight. It was a horrible, horrible way to live. Absolutely terrible for myself, as well as the people around me and the people that loved me. It was just terrible. Obviously, as I'm here now, obviously I got on top of all that, and I help other people. But 20 years ago, I became a hypnotherapist. And while I was a hypnotherapist, I discovered something wonderful. So obviously, I've always had this kind of inkling towards stress and this interest in stress. I got into hypnotherapy in the first place because I was interested in stress. And I discovered that no matter what the problem was that people came to me, once we took the stress out of the equation, half the problem would just get up and walk away by itself. At least half the problem. So I just, over the next 20 years, that brings us to this now, to where we are now, it just became more and more about stress for me. And now here I am, John Freeman, the Stress Buster, and this is all I do is stress. But in order for me to help those 1,000 people, I need to change the way people think about stress. And talking to people like yourself today, that's what I'm trying to do. So I've got some really important things to tell you about stress. And the first one is stress is the enemy of all good things. It's the missing link. Stress busting is the shortcut to all good things. It's the missing link that everybody misses out. We're all so busy trying to deal with our problems, but we never deal with our stress. And I'm going to tell you why. But first, I'm going to tell you why you should care. So I'm just going to tell you 3 main things of what stress costs us. It costs us many more, but if you can get these through into your mindset, into your ideas and your thoughts, then you're going to change your life. So the first thing stress costs us is our perspective. Now, the fight or flight response is a biological reaction to danger that protects us. And there are many biological things that happen in a fraction of a second, but one of them is for us to lose our peripheral vision and we get tunnel vision. We completely lose our peripherals. We lose our perspective. And it's like looking at a cliff face. When we're looking at our problems, all we can see is the thing we have to deal with, the saber-toothed tiger that wants to eat us. That's all we have, is to deal with that. So we lose our peripheral vision. And that means all of our problems, all of our molehill problems become mountain problems. Everything gets bigger. Everything gets more important. Much more important than it really is. Everything troubles us. Everything bothers us. That's the first thing it costs us. The second thing it costs us is access to our subconscious intelligence. The first thing, the conscious mind is the size of a pea. The subconscious mind is the size of the universe. The conscious mind is designed to choose. The subconscious is designed to create. All of our problems come from trying to deal with our problems with our conscious mind, which was never designed to work that way or to do that job. And we get so busy trying to think of why, how, what with our conscious mind, and we get over. And all the time our subconscious is in there like a laid back dude saying, oi, you, do it this way, do this, do that. And we can't hear it. We can't hear it because our conscious mind is too busy. Yeah. So the third thing it costs us is our health. The human body is designed to have free flowing energy flowing through it. Stress is tension. Another biological response is strength to the muscles and tenses them up, ready to fight or run away. Well, we live on high alert. If we don't minimize our stress levels regularly, we live on high alert. We are tense. Now, I'm not saying stress caused any health problems you have, but I am saying it certainly exasperates it and makes it worse. And most importantly, if you do have poor health and you are trying to recover, your stress is slowing that recovery down. Remember what I said, stress busting is the shortcut to everything. Get our stress levels down, we regain our peripheral vision. Suddenly we're taking a step back. We can see the top of the mountain, the sides of the mountain, the bottom of the mountain. We can see the whole picture. Suddenly, our mountain can shrink back down to the molehill problem that it actually is. And we can shrug it off like water off a duck's back. Then we get in touch with the subconscious intelligence within us, and we can hear it, and we can hear that guidance. And also, without the conscious mind going round and round like that, we have vital seconds of consideration before we react to anything. So that's why I tell people you've got to work on your stress levels and get them down as your number one priority, because you can't see straight when you're stressed. You can't look at your problem in a proper way. You need to get that wider perspective. You need to get in touch with yourself and your inner guidance. So here you go. This is how you do it. It's a 3-step process. Step 1, you need to get in touch and recognize the stress paradox. The stress paradox is everybody thinks when all that goes away, so will my stress. When I don't have to deal with this every day, I'll not be stressed anymore. When I don't have to cope with that, my stress will go away. That's the stress paradox. Doesn't work like that. It's the other way around because of what I've just what I've just told you. When we get our stress levels down, we regain our perspective, we regain that connection, we can think straight, and we can deal with our problems and knock the problems aside. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So step 1, recognize the stress paradox. Stress 2, recognize the stress cycle. Because we don't have our peripheral vision and we're stuck on high alert and our brain is going too fast and we're not functioning as nature intended, unless we have an emergency and a saber-toothed tiger to fight, which very few of us actually do, then we get stuck in the stress cycle, and the thoughts, the feelings, the actions that we exhibit actually make our stress worse, make our problems worse, and we get caught up in the cycle. And that cycle just goes round and round and round, and we can be trapped in that, as I was for decades, making the same mistakes over and over again, creating our stress, creating our frustration, creating our in essence, panic. So we can't even see the exit. It's like being on a hamster wheel. And we go round and round and round so fast, half of us don't even know there's an exit. And when we do know there's an exit, we can't find it. So what's the secret? We need to put the brakes on the stress cycle. And believe me, this is the easiest thing in the world to do. Easy. And I do it all the time. I use my dynamic visualization recordings, but there's a ton of different ways you can do it. But you've got to put that brake on. You've got to stop the cycle. You've got to minimize your stress levels. Get them down. Stop everything. Nothing else matters. And the one major difference between me and what everybody else will tell you about stress, I don't waste my time helping you cope with stress. I want those stress levels down. I want them very, very quickly. And then we can recognize what we do. And when I do this with people, I work with 4 weeks. Now, I'm not saying everybody can do it in 4 weeks. Some people will do it in 2, some people will do it in 6. It depends how stressed you are and how much effort you make to stop it. But it can be done, and it's really easy. And once you've gone through that process of minimizing your stress levels, stress will never control you again. You will always be able to control your stress. I still get stressed today. We all get stressed. And I was thinking about it today, and I asked people to give me a number from 1 to 10 of where they are on the stress busting journey. And I had to think about it, 1 being completely no stress at all. I'm still at a number 3. I still get stressed. We all get stressed. But it's being in control of your stress and recognizing it and dealing with it effectively, or it's having stress on top of you, loading you down, controlling your life. It can be done. It's a really easy thing to do, but you just got to want to do it, and you've got to be determined. So I'm going to tell you the main points again. Stress is the enemy of all good things, but stress busting is the shortcut to all good things. So no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what your issue, no matter what you have problems with, minimize your stress levels first so that you can see clearly what's left of your problem. And half the time, there'll be nothing left of it and you'll be wondering where it went to. Recognize the stress paradox. Recognize the stress cycle that you might be stuck in and put the brakes on any way you can. But here we go, last thought. Stress is not normal, and it doesn't have to be a part of your life. Thank you very much. I hope I've helped you in some way.